to clout. Hi, welcome to our X39 review and interview. I'm so excited today to have Cierra on the line. She is our millennial. And what's interesting about Cierra is she is Onyx Cole's daughter. And as we know, Onyx Cole enrolled our line, and Onyx is the #1 US female network marketer, dollar earner in the United States. And Cierra is her daughter, and boy, has she learned a lot from Onyx that she's going to share with us. I was blessed to meet her and Onyx when I first enrolled in October. Basically, Rhonda Donahue, my business partner, said, Onyx and her daughter are in town and you're picking them up at the airport. Well, I was completely nervous because of who they are. And I said, okay, I'll pick them up. I pick them up at the airport and oh my gosh, they're awesome. They give me big hugs. They're like, thanks for picking us up. And they're all spiritual girls and just amazing. I ended up driving with them for a whole week. I took them anywhere they wanted to go. And I have to say, I think I have a little girl crush on Cierra's mother. So that was pretty amazing. And so Cierra will tell us her age. I think she's something like 24, but she'll let you know. And she's a millennial. And really, I just want to ask her, like, what are her experiences as a millennial with X39? What does it help the younger folks with? And then after that, I really want to know, how has she been actually moving the business with younger people? Because a lot of times we think that stem cells stop at, 50% get reduced at age 30, and then all of them by about the age 60. But what about these people 24? What's going on with them and their bodies? Can this be good for them too? And so with that, why don't you share with us, Cierra, your story?
Perfect. Thank you, Marcy. Yes, I am Onyx's daughter. I'm her favorite daughter, but don't tell the other ones that. But we were vacationing together last summer when she was introduced to LifeWave. So I was with her when this happened and started wearing the patch myself. And just to start with my testimonial, I'm 22. Let me start with that. I'm 22 and I live in Miami. So my mom lives in the Keys, so we're about an hour from each other. So I got to see her all the time, which is really exciting. And I feel very much like my mom today because I'm doing a Zoom call in her car because mine's at the shop. But X39 has really changed my life in a lot of ways. Not only me and my mom and our relationship together, but me physically. So with Onyx being my mom, we've always been very natural. We've always been very in tune with our bodies. We don't have a lot of big issues because we're very aware of it. So I started wearing the patch and nothing changed for me immediately. It wasn't like I woke up the next day and I was like, woo, because I'm always like that. So it wasn't a big change for me. It took about 3 weeks. It was actually when we came to California and we met Marcy for the first time. Like she said, she drove us around everywhere. And something that I struggled with being a 22-year-old, my biggest issue isn't pain. My biggest issue is anxiety. So what I've struggled with a lot was very situational anxiety, where I couldn't get to the restroom easily. I don't know why, that's just the anxiety that I had. So if I had to sit for an exam, for school, for an hour and a half, I'd be like, oh my goodness, what if I have to go to the bathroom? What if I have to go to the bathroom? What if I have to go to the bathroom? If I'm in a car ride for anything longer than like 20 minutes, I start freaking out while the plane's taking off. It was all these situations that I encountered daily, and I couldn't stop these repetitive thoughts. So we were driving, and in LA, in California, the traffic is insane. We probably spent an hour and a half to go anywhere. I feel like even to just go get breakfast or something, it was so long. So it took maybe like the third day in. I was sitting in the car, Marcy was driving, and I was like, you know what? I'm not anxious right now. Like, it just hit me. I was like, I don't have these repetitive thoughts telling me to freak out because there's not a bathroom in the car with me, So that was the moment where I felt that earth-shattering difference. But it did take 3 weeks of consistently wearing the patch every day for 12 hours a day and then taking it off and throwing it away. And then after that, all of these different things keep coming to light the longer that I wear it. So some of the things that people talk about immediately that I also felt was deeper sleep, insane dreams. And when you have these dreams, you know that you're sleeping really deeply. My eyelashes are huge. I don't wear fake eyelashes anymore because they're so long. They hit my glasses anytime I wear glasses, which is really fun. So that's good. I keep having to get a haircut like every 3 months, when before I had to, I'd do it every 6 months to a year. I didn't care about cutting my hair. My bad breath is better. My acne has cleared up a lot. And those are things that I think are more focused towards millennials. Well, everybody loves hair growth, but the anxiety, the acne, the mental clarity when we're sitting and taking an exam, to not have all these different thoughts wandering in. You really get to just focus, and your energy feels better and brighter and consistent throughout the day. It's not like you have these jumps of energy and then really dull, really low lows. It's a really nice, consistent energy. So those are just some of the things that I've noticed that may be a little bit different from somebody who suffers from pain, for example. That's just not something I suffer from, and not something most 22-year-olds have a lot of. So that has been really helpful. Is there anything else you want me to touch on testimonial wise?
Yeah, well, I just want to talk a little bit about that, because what millennials are dealing with is very different than people our age. We are dealing with, like you said, pain. And there's no pain when you're 22. Your body works well. But the few things that I really heard, a couple of things, just being young and wanting to be out there, is your really long eyelashes. Like, girls at 22 really want to look pretty. Yes. And acne is a problem for young people. Their hormones are all out of whack. You know how it is. Sometimes girls get acne so bad at that age that they get divots in their face and it scars them. It's serious. Like, a lot of these girls are on these really crazy meds for acne, right? And then the other thing that really hit me, bad breath. And that's part of, I'm just going to be totally honest here, that's part of bacteria. That's part of acne. So it makes sense when girls' hormones are messing around, their faces are breaking out, their backs are breaking out, they may have bad breath. And, that's just not very attractive when you're 22 and out there, enjoying what it's like to be 22, right? So,
and something, just because you've been talking about women a lot, I think I should also just talk about my menstrual cycle. I don't need to take Tylenol anymore. Like, I don't have that pain where I used to be like 3 days in a row, I'd be popping Tylenol extra strengths, probably twice a day. I haven't touched it since I've started using the patch. So that's my little bit of pain, was just centered around, my menstrual cycle. So just something else to add there.
For a young person, we all have to kind of go back, but back in the day, that could hold you up for 2 days. Like, that's no joke at 22. So, and then the other thing that really hit me at your age, and I'm really noticing this as well for your age group, is there seems to be a lot of ADD, ADHD, anxiety, just young people's brains, autism spectrum disorder, Asperger's, where the brain of young kids is just a little bit not as maybe stable. And I hate to compare this, but to the 70s, but let's be honest, 1 out of 4 boys are diagnosed on the spectrum. And the autistic spectrum is anywhere from ADD to ADHD to autism and anywhere in between. And that really is where there's been an insult somewhere to the brain of our boys, because their genetics aren't quite as strong for whatever reason as girls at that age when they're babies. And so that's why there's so much more of that. And that can be hit very minimally or very aggressively. And I'm just going to say anxiety disorder is at the very lower end of that kind of stuff. And so, we have that brain study that just happened in I think January, that talks about how in 6 weeks the brain rebalances itself. So I think it's really interesting that your anxiety, and I'm going to just talk about this a little bit if it's okay. I was driving her around, okay? And I don't drive very well. And in LA, her and her mom were worried, oh my God, we're going with her again. I think they might have even thought Uber would have been better than me. I'm just totally honest, right? And so Cierra should have had a ton of anxiety with me. And that's why she said, Mom, I don't need to stop. Normally she would have to have me stop at a restroom like every other exit, because that's her anxiety, that she has to go to the bathroom if there's no bathroom. And she didn't have any of that. And So, and I just want to also make sure people know that took 3 weeks, that balance. So, you know, like I kind of hit that correct, right?
Yeah, it did. It took weeks. I was not ready to, my body just needed that time to just, you know, let me just have this moment to really work on you and really work on it consistently. And it did. It took 3 weeks until, and then it was like, once it shattered through, the list goes on and on and on of all the things that have changed the longer that I've worn it. But it just needed that shatter period. But I had to wear it consistently the whole time.
So I would say that my big lesson here for millennials is brain balance. And wherever that is in the balance that your millennial needs in the brain, this works really well for that. And brain clarity, you know, the exams, the tests. You know what it's like for our kids in school when they're studying for 24 hours with no sleep. How, you know, what, 10 cups of coffee, or what are those energy drinks that are so bad for you? Like,
I don't even know.
What is that, Red Bulls or whatever?
Yeah,
like,
Red Bull and Monster and I don't know.
All that stuff. So tell me, what was going on with that, with clarity, with homework, with staying up 24 hours to be focused?
I actually was already graduated, so I don't have a personal testimony on that one, but I do have a friend who I gave this to who just graduated from NYU, and I sent her a sleeve right before she was doing her exams and everything, and I was like, "You love me, right?" And she said, "Yes." I'm like, "Wear it. Don't question me, just wear it." She's going through her exam process, and she said it did make a difference. She was still, of course, doing the cramming, staying up all night, but she was like, "I just felt better for some reason." She was like, "I didn't need all of the coffee to still feel alert. I felt more alert than I felt last finals session." So she did see a difference in maybe the week that the finals were there. So that's just her little testimony. She was more clear and more level-minded when she was doing those exams, for sure.
And you did touch on deep sleep and dreams. Like, why is that important for you or for young people?
For young people, I think as a whole, we stay up all night on our tablets and are watching Netflix or something. We just don't know how to unplug very well. And when you have all of that blue light stimulus, it makes it really, really hard to fall asleep quickly. So that one alone, just falling asleep quickly, it's like, okay, it's 10:30. I'm going to put my phone down. I'm asleep 5-10 minutes later. Like, it doesn't take me hours of, oh, let me roll over. Oh, it's 2:00. Why am I still awake? That doesn't happen anymore. So it's an immediate falling asleep. And once I'm asleep, I'm not waking up anymore. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night just because I'm waking up in the middle of the night. And while I'm sleeping, some nights I'll get these really, really vivid dreams. Probably more nights I'll get vivid dreams than I don't get vivid dreams. You know, last night, actually, I had a dream that I was horseback riding on the beach, which was really fun. And the horse was this beautiful, like, Clydesdale paint mix horse, which is like, how do I remember that? And there was 8 people in my group. I was wearing a purple cowboy hat. Don't ask me why, but the fact that they're so vivid of a dream shows that you're just sleeping that deeply. So falling asleep quickly, staying asleep, and getting really deep sleep have been the things that I've noticed, which change your life alone. With you have good sleep, you have the rest of your life is better just because of it. You function better.
So I have 2 identical twin boys, Luke and Shane, that are 19, and they stay in the garage all day and play with their friends on their video games. So they're full-on blue screen boys, right? And so now I'm going to have to tell them, here's your patch, because I want you to sleep deep and dream. And I can tell them Cierra's dream, and who knows, that dream sounds better than what they're playing on the video games. You know, maybe that would be good. And I'll also tell you about Luke, okay, this is a really funny story. So Luke and Shane are identical twins, and their father doesn't have hair, right? And so they're starting to lose their hair, and Luke doesn't want to lose his hair, and Shane doesn't care. And for whatever reason, Shane has a big old beard, like he can have a ton of hair on his face, right? It's just the way it goes. So I said, hey, the X39 is helping with hair. And I showed the picture of Karen Titoni's husband, Patrick. And they saw it, and Luke's like, I want those patches. I want to start wearing it. And Shane said, I don't care if I lose my hair. I think I'm going to look cool bald. And so now you know the difference of my boys. So one of them will be wearing the patch, and one won't. And that's okay. But, you know, I thought, you know, X39 for male pattern baldness for our young kids who want to keep it is a great idea too. So, you know, I don't know, just you talking about blue screen and video games made me think about my own boys. So, Cierra, tell us a little bit about, as a millennial, I know you moved this business. You taught me how to do the business when you first met me. It was pretty cute. So, how do you do that?
I do it a lot by replicating what my mom has taught me. Of course, she's my biggest idol, so I do listen very carefully to a lot she has to say. But Marcy and Peter's on this call as well. You guys are incredible leaders. So everybody has their own tool and technique that works for them. For me, my mom in her last business that she did worked really well belly to belly. So that's the pattern that I have stuck with. And it's, you know, talking to new people every day, following up with people that you've talked to every day, and things like that. So the best thing that I do is when I meet somebody, if it's at a coffee shop, for example, I start talking to them. I want to ask them what their issues are and see if they have any ailments. And so I'm like, hey, Joe, you know, how are you sleeping? And I'd be like, you know, not too great. I woke up a couple of times last night. Okay. Do you have any pain anywhere? Do you struggle with acne? You know, any of these things? You strike up the conversation so that you can get information on your end. And then I check in with myself. I always carry patches with me, little sample packs with me. And I'm like, you know, Joe, I want to give you 5 days worth of samples, but I have 2 rules. My first rule is that the first patch goes right on them. I do not give them any more patches unless they let me put the first one on them right there. So I'm like, you know what, Joe, turn around. I'm going to put this on the bottom of your neck. And so they do. And I said, do you want more? And if they want more, the second rule is I have to get their contact information. So whether that's a phone number or an email address, that's it. And then I'll give them more samples. So I walked into this conversation figuring out what their issues are, what their ailments are. I'm giving them a sample. I'm putting a sample on them, and I'm getting their contact information. And then what I'll do is I'll set a little reminder in my phone, and I'll be like, call Joe. He doesn't sleep very well. He struggles with acne. Check in on him. And I'll set that to remind me in 3 days. And in 3 days, I'll call him. I'll see how he's doing. And then we'll continue that relationship from there. So that's how I do it belly to belly. In terms of being a millennial, your friends are a huge circle. Everybody's friends are going to be their first market. And the millennials are cool because we have access to our friends, but we also have access to our friends' parents, which is something that's really great. And so I actually spoke to Mom that I was going to have this call, and she wanted me to share a story from her past business, actually. So there was a student in the same high school I went to, who was 2 or 3 years older than me, who joined the business with my mom as well. So his name was Scott. His mom built one leg and signed Scott up and shared one leg with Scott. Scott signed his teacher up, and his teacher went wild. Scott graduated from high school making $10,000 a week just from one person, because that's all it needs. You need one on the left and one on the right in the binary to make it work. So all you have to do is just go out there every day and meet new people. It's not going to happen if you're not reaching out to new people all the time. So when I go to a girlfriend's house to have a glass of wine, I bring patches over. If that girlfriend is living with their parents, I bring extra patches over. If that girlfriend's living with their brother, I bring more patches over. So it's always about reaching out to everyone you can in that aspect. Does that help answer?
Yeah, it does. And I laugh at that because I'm just trying to see. So I have to tell you, like, that's why we created these envelopes. These are little sharing envelopes that you can get at startx39biz.com. You can also get sharing envelopes from quantumfieldx39team.com. And Onyx has 2 envelopes too. One is designed for more older people like us, and one is designed for millennials that has things like we help with brain clarity and sleep and anxiety and bad breath and acne, right? And so know that we have the tools available. And when I say that Cierra trained me and her mother, they did. We were driving in the back of the car in October, And I don't know if Sean Zook is on the line, but Sean Zook, who is now a director, lives in Alaska. She has tons of friends, and they're all the spiritual community. And I had sent her 12 patches, not even in an envelope like this. I hand wrote, where 12 hours on to activate and 12 hours off to repair. And I didn't have enough confidence at the time to even call Sean for some different reasons. And so Onyx and I, in the car, called her together. And Onyx basically talked about what the patch does, you know, how it activates GHK and activates your stem cells, makes more, resets them. And by the end of it, Sean's like, I'm gonna wear them. I'm putting one on. And then Onyx went, well, you need a diamond pack because you're having a spiritual retreat with 15 girls this next weekend. And you're gonna need patches for all of them. And Sean hadn't even tried the patch yet. She wasn't sure if she was ready for the business or not. And she basically said to Onyx, I'm not sure if I'm ready for the business or not. And Onyx goes, well, feel into it. How many patches does each one of your girls need? And Sean said 9 each. And literally Onyx took out, oh, I don't know, 3 of these sleeves and these envelopes, and she started filling them with patches. And by the end, she handed me 10 envelopes. And she said, Marcy, mail those out tomorrow so Sean has them for her entire spiritual group. And that was it. Sean was in the business. I was in the business. I mean, Onyx had me with gifting, right? And it was really that easy. And when I saw what Onyx was doing, I'm like, I can do this. I can do this business. This is not hard. Not only is it not hard, it was so much fun. So,
it was.
Right? So anyway,
Yes.
so thank you for sharing that with us. I don't know if you have any other tidbits that you want to share, you can think of?
This is a business of giving. And that story right there just proves that that's all this is. All we're doing is sharing health with people and sharing wealth with people and giving them gifts of love and of light and of energy and of all of this greatness. So that's all you're doing. So never be afraid to ruffle somebody's feathers, because you're giving them a gift. And if they want the gift, great. And if they don't, it's okay. You got to just keep reaching out to new people. And I think that's all I wanted to say, to make sure that it's a gift-giving business. That's what we're doing.
And what I remember the most about that, Onyx Cole made $17 million with Monavie. Okay, she's the #1 distributor in this company. Okay, she knows what she's doing. And when I saw her open up this big black bag that she carries everywhere and started ripping these apart, and she must have had 30 sleeves, and she must have had like over 200 envelopes ready to go, and all sorts of little bags like that. I'm like, I can do that. And just, I don't know, 2 days ago, I mailed out 17 of these filled with what? 15 envelopes and labels for them. And I know from the business of this that that when you have when people have the tools and the patches to share, that's the business. And I just do what Onyx does. I make sure everybody has patches and everybody has envelopes to give patches. And you did say this, Cierra, which was really interesting. I don't go to a friend's house. I don't go out. I don't go anywhere without having patches in my purse. And I have to say, you know, right now I have my silly bag, you know, but you know, they're full of patches. I don't go anywhere without having patches with me. And I learned that from Onyx Cole, you know. And sometimes we think, oh my God, that is so simple and so easy. You can't make money. I'm telling you, Onyx Cole, 17 million. She's doing something right. So with that, let's talk a little bit about what this patch does. Do you want to explain, Cierra, how the patch works? Do you want to take people through how they wear it, or do you want me to? Go ahead. Why don't you tell them how it works?
Okay. The easiest way for me to understand how it works is to just relate it to the sun. So what happens when you stand outside in the sun sends a light frequency into your skin that tells your body to make vitamin D. It's the exact same science. It's called photobiomodulation. So the patch itself has crystals, and when it is in your skin and is activated, it sends a light frequency that just tells your body to activate the GHK copper peptide. And that is what's going to activate your stem cells and get you feeling younger and healthier and all of the benefits that everybody is experiencing from this product. So that's short, easy, the best way I know how to describe it. It's the same thing as standing in the sun, just in a nice, easy, compact little patch form.
And I'll just add to that. When this gets activated by the heat of your skin, this peptide, GHK copper peptide, actually stimulates the light. It's a light wave, and it actually stimulates this peptide. And this peptide creates stem cells, makes more stem cells, mobilizes them so they march again or activates them, and resets them to a younger, healthier state. And so what happened to Cierra with that anxiety, it took about 3 weeks, but make no mistake, those stem cells started to work and move into her brain and start to regenerate the connections. And you think, well, she's a millennial, she's 22. Hey, listen, you lose 50% of your stem cells at age 30, okay? So 22, she probably has lost 25% of them. And, you know, no one's told me this, but I believe if there has been brain trauma for young, my guess is that there has been more destruction of stem cells or more need to activate more of them for those young brains so that they can regenerate. Because make no mistake, when you have had an insult to the brain on the autism spectrum, and that goes anywhere from ADD, ADHD, anxiety, Asperger's to autism. Just where was the insult in the brain? Those kids need more stem cell mobilization to repair the brain. Make no mistake that that's really, really what's going on. And so this is what's happening for that. That's doing that. And David Schmidt says when you put young stem cells on old tissue, you turn the tissue young again. And we are restabilizing for those young folks a younger, more healthier brain again. Okay, so that's what's really, really going on. So most people notice results within 1 to 30 days. Sometimes it takes 3 months. That's why David has a 90-day money-back guarantee for customers and a 30-day money-back guarantee for distributors. So there's no risk to try and see how this is going to get into your system or your millennial system or your young person's system that needs some help with their brain. And this is how you wear it. 12 hours on to activate, and then you take it off and you let your body repair for 12 hours. And then you put the next one on. You can wear more than one, and any spot will do. You just must take it on and off every 12 hours, because just like light, you need to turn it on and off, on and off. And that's what's really going on here. The owner, inventor, David Schmidt, figured out how to harness light, the frequency of light, the speed of light, to actually elevate peptides to keep our body young and healed. So this is not anti-aging, this is age reversal, and this is brain health reversal for the youth, okay? So that's what's going on here. So if you'd like to get these patches, you can become a customer, and that's $149 or $99 every month. There is a 90-day money-back guarantee with that, and just get with the person who brought you here, or go to their website and click buy. If you're like us and you want to share it and you want to buy a pack wholesale, you could get a silver pack for $2.99. That's 3 sleeves at $99 a sleeve. And all you do is go to your person's website and click join. I started with a silver. I started using it for myself. I started sharing it, and Peter No said, I want it. I want in the business. I need a diamond pack. So what did I do? I upgraded to the diamond. I paid the difference between $299 and $1,600. I got the difference in sleeves, and now I was really in the business, and I had enough patches to share like Onyx did for me. I was able to help gift to other people the way Onyx did for me. And that allowed me to make more money in the compensation plan, and it kept me active for the business for 3 months. So if you want the diamond pack, just get with the person who brought you here or go to their website. And once again, click join. You can learn more by going to startx39.com. There's a 3-minute video on stem cell activation. There is a 19-minute video by our owner and CEO, David Schmidt. He talks about the science and also the issues it deals with. It's an amazing video. You can also look at all his patents and all the research, as well as it reminds you how to wear the patches. Know that we just got a 20-year patent, and we got that 8 weeks ago, and that patent says, yes, indeed, through light, we activate a peptide called GHK copper peptide that actually does mobilize your stem cells and reset them to a younger, healthier state. We are in 100 countries. We have the backbone, and we started in 2004, and stem cells just came out a year ago. So we have the backbone of an old company with the technology of a new company, and in 1 year, we've doubled our size of business to 100 million. Make no mistake, if you want to heal people and you want a business that's in momentum, you've come to the right place. So thank you so much for coming today. We're so happy that you were here to hear our interview with Cierra, our beautiful millennial. And tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we will be having our training with Peter No, and that's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. And thank you so much for coming today, and have a great rest of your Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye, Marcy.
Bye, Sierra. Bye, Marcy.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.